curious to ask this question now that you gave me the opportunity to, and thank you again. Wally, what was the reason why you guys decided to go to Pulse Chain? I don't know anything about Pulse Chain. I would like to learn about it, but ultimately I want to know why your decision was to come on the Pulse Chain. Because I'm gonna follow you guys, so maybe I have a new blockchain to explore.
That's a great question, I appreciate you for coming up, brother. But yeah, man. So obviously we came to Pulse Chain. Why did we come to Pulse Chain, man? That's a great question because none of us on the team even knew anything about Pulse Chain, and that's why I love this question, because we let the market drive our decisions, man. And I'll tell you what, man, these filthy degens over here on Pulse that I love, were all about it, man. They wanted us. They wanted a fast bridge. They use the blockchain. They're actually real blockchain people that actually use the blockchain. They're not just like the grifters that go out there and say they use it. These people actually use this good stuff. So they're like, hey, we need a bridge. And so that's where we were like, all right, man, you guys find us the validators. Let's do it. Let's go to Pulse. And dude, I swear we got like 3 validators in a week. Once we decided we were going to make that move. And from there on, like shit, Zach and Hodl have been having me on. This is my second space, I think, with these guys, but I've talked with Hodl a few different times, been on a Pulse YouTube channel. I'm telling you, man, these people, they use the blockchain. This is something that we've been looking for. These people, they use the blockchain. So that's why we're here, man. And I love it. I appreciate them.
Yeah, I say, thank you for joining. And you're new to Pulse Chain, and it's great because Pulse Chain is just getting started, right? And if you have any kind of question right now, please go ahead and ask it. I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I'm more taking notes. It's definitely a interesting network name in general. I was just curious to Wally, because you guys are on multiple EVM networks. I didn't even know Pulse Chain was an EVM network. Be honest, like when I heard people say Pulse, I'm thinking they're talking about a heartbeat. I'm not even joking right now. I'm dead serious. So, like, back to crypto linking a decision, right? From your knowledge on Pulse so far, what would you say differentiates Pulse from other EVM networks?
Oh, I want to answer this.
Oh, for sure.
Can I answer this one? All right. So the main thing, in my opinion, is the PRC token network. So Pulse Chain is actually a fork of ETH. So you might even check your wallet balance. Any token that you had on ETH, it was like as of May 13th or something like that when they did the fork, literally everything copied over onto Pulse Chain. So there's Wrap Bitcoin, there's Pepe, there's Shiba. ETH is Pulse, so the gas token is now PLS. But I think the contract address is the same. But all the contract addresses are the same, all that stuff. So when the chain launched, all of these were like worthless. There was no liquidity. There was nothing paired with them. And then it's been just a roller coaster since then. I mean, with all sorts of stuff going on. But a lot of us have kind of uncovered this grand conspiracy that Richard Hart has to really make some of these, have some fireworks type of thing. We don't think a lot of people in the Hex community just thought this was just kind of like a scam thing to bring people over. We think there's quite a bit more to it. We have a lot of evidence. We can bring it up. We've seen MakerDAO involved with some of this stuff. We've seen Lido involved with some of this stuff. And these new token copies, while there's, it's kind of the perfect little crypto degen casino, in my opinion, right? There's, and who knows what could happen. There's all sorts of crazy theories, but it one of the things that's great is it just adds, there's all this speculation, and that's what's driving a lot of the price. And in my opinion, that is one of the most unique things. The other most unique thing, and I don't know if you heard this earlier, but there's a lot of projects that are out there that have built, their whole ecosystem, like my NFT project. There's a new one called PTCG. There's this whole Atropa ecosystem. And the whole point of it is to add liquidity to some of these token pairs to actually make them legit, little places that people will actually speculate on. And, we can get into the details way deeper than that. And sure, other people might have some other reasons why they like Pulse Chain. But in my opinion, that's its most unique thing by far. And most people that we've chatted with really seem to be interested in it. And it's barely getting started. It's like new.
Yeah, man. So to translate that, you guys are just filthy fucking degens, huh?
We're filthy degens, but there's some really cool and unique projects too. Like you've got Time Wallet, Internet Money Wallet, that is the first DEX kind of aggregator that we've seen to where it's community owned and people can earn the fees on that. But yeah, it's there's a lot of really interesting projects too, and the community is also different. The community's super hype, super bullish. I didn't really realize that until I got here. I'm fairly new, right? I used to make fun of the Hexicans, and I still kind of do, right? Actually, there's different sides of the community, which is really interesting. But that's what makes it interesting. It's a big freaking community, and no matter kind of what you're into, if you're into more legitimate investments like blockchains and wallets and things, you have that. But you've also got this crazy degen community as well. So
there's one thing that post chain is here and is different than any other chain that I've seen so far. The community, the knowledge that Richard Hart has set the whole 2 years that he's been giving in his videos. He's brought like attentiveness to like communion, to come together and stay and delay your gratification, and then build upon that with the community that you're with. Now everybody like Hado and Zach, they're in their own niche. They brought crypto link. We needed a bridge, we got a bridge. I think when he deployed Postchain, aside from it being to help Hex with the unstake fees, it was to give us a chain, a decentralized chain that people can build upon. We don't I feel like us reaching out to these guys, they've already known about Postchain for years. The developers that doctor's stating, and we that are on the chain have been seeking and building and talking and trying to connect with other people, with other devs, sorry, to bring in that infrastructure to build on Pulse Chain. And slowly it is growing. The APIs, I know they suck. The scan, they suck. We already have a new scan called scan.9mm.pro, which is working flawlessly. Perfect APIs on there. So you can manually do these things. And there's people taking the initiatives. So now I feel like everybody just needs to if you're a developer, you find your niche, or you find what infrastructure you can tackle, or with your talents, then you tackle it, right? And there's a lot of knowledge that's being shared, especially with the LP game. Like Hado said earlier, there's a lot of even playing field with everyone. So this gave a transfer of wealth in a sense, because you have now guys that sacked for little to nothing are now sitting in dolphin statuses because of Pulsechain and Hex. And so they are now looking into how they can further their Web3 developments. And they could be already working for a development team in the Web2 space. They just don't know anything about Web3. And now they're bringing that attentiveness to everyone. So I feel like if we keep bringing that attentiveness, keep communing and trying to figure out what is lacking, then we will get there. But slowly but surely we see a lot of people building. I know Don right here, he has his hands up. He's a perfect dev that I've been trying to get people to pay attention, because he shows you like what it is, and he shows people what behind the scenes and how you do it, like how you get on stream, Doc. You get on stream and show the code. Like that's literally what developers need to start doing out here, is literally try to show what's going on, so people like normal people that don't know how to read anything can see the work or the labor that is put into making a product into this space and making it happen. And then I think that will then have people more humble to actually invest, or more humble to put their time aside and let the development just happen.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the main, like one of the main things other than the community is it was briefly mentioned, like any protocol that might have staking, or farms, like staking for Hex, or I know the gray currency PTGC had issues on Ethereum with the fees, with the different like DAO protocols and other things, and 9-inch on Ethereum, like versus on Pulse Chain, for example, with the farms and stuff. Like every little thing action you want to do, like going in a farm, pulling out of a farm, going in a pool, like whatever, like that Ethereum adds up. So when you're doing that on Pulsechain for fractions of a penny, and it's faster as well, like it just feels seamless.
I was just about to say what's going on Pulsechain, but I mean, I was just listening for about 10 minutes, so I don't even know if I can really ask that question. What else is going on? Or like, can you give me a general overview of like?
What ain't going on Post-chain, right? Check the volume.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much have like a lot of different protocols or projects happening. I mean, you have everything from, your reward tokens, self-reflecting tokens. There's reward tokens that are distributing Pulse Chain. There's all different types of NFT projects that are popping off with staking protocols attached to them. There's, I mean, just all types of different liquidity bonded ecosystems inside Pulse Chain already. Really, there's a ton here. But yeah, I mean, if you have any kind of questions, we would love to help you out.
Yeah, nah, I like Pulsechain. I just Richard Hart is just a crazy character, and I've never really been able to not differentiate, but like distinguish. That like real shit gets built on Pulsechain. It's kind of just a stereotypical thing, I guess, in the space sometimes. But
No,
yeah, I don't know enough about it, so.
I mean, you probably didn't see. Maybe you did. The Highest of Stakes documentary, right? But yeah, Richard Hart's whole thing, right? Like, outrage marketing is like kind of what he says. He was like buying all these like Ferraris and Lambos and wearing all these crazy outfits, right? Like Gucci and shit, and just being an insane person. From my perspective, because I followed Richard Hart for a long time, and granted, I didn't sacrifice for Pulse Chain. My brother did, but I just kind of observed Richard Hart for a long time. And we thought he was goofy, right? Like he's just like some goofy guy, and I never really took him that seriously. But the things that he was saying obviously were very, very smart, and I could see that he was like trying to direct people in a certain way. But yeah, a lot of people didn't agree with like the way that he presented himself, obviously. But he goes into speak nowadays about his past and like how he wrote these like self-help books and tried to help people financially for years, calling out scammers and things like that, and been called a scammer himself by many people who are in jail today. And so I think that, he didn't really see any other way to like grow an audience or get people to just know who he was without having to do some type of like outrage marketing like this. And, starting to buy Lambos and shopping at Gucci every day, got a lot of people and, talking about having a big dick or whatever, he got a lot of people upset and talking about Richard Hart, obviously. So, and whether it's like a good or bad thing, I mean, people know who he is now. And nowadays he's got a much more humble approach. If you do see the documentary at any time, you'll notice that his sentiment is changed, and he kind of explains his whole outrage marketing stance.
No, yeah, I totally understand. He'll just, and it's pretty genius, honestly. Like he's good at getting the reactions, and it's not necessarily it's a good thing when you're trying to market a product. And it seems like he's made a ton of people a shitload of money. So who can really call him a scammer at this point? He's been around long enough, and it doesn't really look like he's gonna go anywhere. So it's tough to. He's pretty unfuddable, honestly, at this point. But he'll always be just a character kind of thing to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I mean, yeah, like everybody trusts him. Obviously, like he's the OA, right? Like he holds the majority of the tokens of Hex. He holds majority of tokens of Pulse Chain. I think it's like 90% of the supply is in his control, or not. I mean, he doesn't say it's in his control. He just calls it the OA. But I mean, we all put our faith in that, right? And I mean, in terms of like everybody wants to say, DeFi's the way and all that. I mean, it is, right? And in terms of centralization, it's like who do you want to like own the majority of like something that you're a part of, right? Do you want somebody that's like going to be a benevolent actor, or do you want like a bunch of like VCs and things like this in control of your product? And here we have this guy that's obviously been benevolent for years and been just trying to help people and educate people, right? So that's kind of why we really love Pulse Chain.
Yeah. So is he? So you'd say genuinely that he's an honest dude?
100%, yes. That's just my perspective. Obviously, everybody's got their own opinion, but I mean, I feel like I can get a good read, and especially after seeing the documentary, I mean, it just really kind of confirmed my beliefs, honestly, that he was a more humble person than he was letting on.
Mm-hmm. I don't ask that question because I doubt he is. I actually genuinely don't know. I've heard a lot of things about him. We all have. meaning folks who aren't directly involved with building on Pulsechain. But yeah,
You know, I mean, I got a bunch of friends that are on Ethereum, and like, you know, I mentioned Richard Hart and Pulsechain, and they started laughing at me. They're like, that's a joke. Like, why are you involved with something with like that guy? You know, and it's been a slow process, but I've gotten 3 of those friends of mine over here on the Pulsechain so far, and there's like 7 more that I'm like kind of slowly working on. But yeah, it just kind of started as a joke to them, honestly, and
it was like everyone thought it was well, at first, like the only time or the first thing that I had ever been told about it was that it's basically a price go up in 2021, and I've always kind of just associated with that since. But it seems like in the meantime, and we know that when the market isn't as favorable, is when really the most shit is being built. Because people are less worried about like the volume of money that's moving in and out, and they're thinking about missing opportunities here and there. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's been around that long though. In 2021 it was getting called that, but I guess the building that's going on here has kind of outweighed that stereotype kind of shit that came from like the very beginning of.
yeah, no, definitely, I would agree.
Yeah, hey Pat, it's nice to meet you, Pat. Finally, I've been hearing you in spaces a lot, been seeing you around on the cigar lounge. I love your takes on things, man. I didn't know you was in the Pulse, man. What in particular you like about it? Because I'm hearing it from these guys. They're on the chain, and I know you're on a different chain. So I would like to hear it from you in particular on why you would, what do you like about Pulse?
I mean, truthfully, I don't know enough about Pulse except for a general idea of the tokenomics of Hex and that it's a chain that works pretty well and pretty fast, just like most of them. Obviously, there's a bunch of differences, but I just don't really know enough yet. So kind of why I'm here as well.
Yeah, we're both learning. Shout out to Any Swap and Zach for putting this together because I mean I wouldn't be here without it, right? We wouldn't be here.
What
Right?
kind of business?
IT consulting or trading or anything to do with technology, because there's no categories for cryptocurrency on these things yet, right?
Okay.
But anything to do with IT, it works. It doesn't really matter. Mine is IT consulting, so
Yeah, it could be any kind of business, real estate, whatever business you are into that you are paying tax.
yeah, it doesn't really matter as long as you report your income. Exactly. But for the same token, people are scared of reporting their income in crypto, but that's stupid because you can report your losses and get a return. So, it's like even in the bear market, I make money because I get a huge ass return because everything went down while everyone else is wrecked. I got money in the bank, or I'm getting money because the market went down and I filed my losses. That's the benefit you get of being honest, right? I don't see anybody doing that shit in crypto. They think they can just obfuscate their transactions and hide it, but they're actually screwing themselves out of like gains by doing that, right? In the long run, you're screwing yourself. So it might hurt in the short term to be honest and report your gains, but you'll be thankful you did later. And all you motherfuckers listening right now, you're probably gonna have to deal with this in the next bull market, because you're gonna have a huge bag of Zen. So start thinking about it now, right? And you know what the weird thing is? You think if you have $1 million, your life will change and you could manage everything so easy. It is almost impossible for your brain to comprehend the numbers at a certain point. And if you have $1 million, I promise you in 2 months, you'll have 300,000 left and you'll say, what happened? Where did the $700,000 go? And you won't know what happened. You won't fucking know because your brain isn't functioning correctly when you're dealing with like those kind of numbers. So you need a plan, you need help, you need to be prepared to like execute on that shit, right? Because, you want to be successful. It doesn't take a lot of money to like, anyone here, anyone listening now, anyone in this room has the potential to have life-changing wealth just by participating in this space, right? So it doesn't take as much as you think to change your life, right? But even 100 grand, you can fuck it up more easier than you think. So yeah,
So
speaking
yeah,
from
if you get that
experience.
money, on this bull market, put it in real estate. Put it in, and if you don't know what to do with that real estate, buy houses. I mean, if you don't know what to do with it, put it in Airbnb and have a co-host on that Airbnb. They're gonna take care of it. You don't have to do anything. You just pay them a percentage that you agree upon, and they take care of everything for you. And all you see the money coming into your account, and you're doing nothing. Your property, your building is generating money for you. That's a very good money, like regular. It's a regular money almost. So if you make that money this bull market, buy a house, put it in Airbnb. Trust me, you'll be good. And get a co-host to manage your Airbnb. you'll be good.
There you
At
go.
least,
Exactly. Reduce your risk at that point. And that's exactly what I did. I bought a house as a knee-jerk reaction, and it's ended up saving me. Buying the house was the thing that like saved my ass. It wasn't that I made a lot of money in crypto, it was the fact that I could live without having to worry about paying rent and a mortgage. And that is what enabled me to be successful. You know, it wasn't the fact that I had all this Bitcoin or Ethereum, despite what you may think. So you really have to have a plan to like exactly manifest it into the real world assets, because assets are what you want. Assets. And this shit's not a joke. You guys also need to find an accountant to help you, because my accountant cost, well, this year, $18,000 alone this year just for my accountant to file my crypto taxes. So, you know, just start thinking about it, right? Because when the time comes, you're not going to know what to do when you have a huge bag. You're going to want to have all these things in place. A business, an accountant, a lawyer, you know, maybe your parents, someone who could advise you, right? I didn't have any of those things. I had to figure it out all on my own. And yeah, I went gray pretty quick.
yeah, once you have a plan and keep to that plan, you will come out successful. There's no point. Be disciplined and keep to that plan. I think you'll come out very, very great. And it all starts from there. Once you're great and you keep utilizing that opportunity, your greatness starts from there, kicks off. But when you have that money, or if you don't have a plan and that money comes, and all of a sudden you have a, what do they call it? Sudden wealth syndrome. You don't know what to do because you had no plan. You're gonna blow it. Probably gonna put it on other project that you know you didn't even have any idea, because you're throwing dirt at anything and it's giving you money. Yeah, if you don't have a plan, that money is gonna make you go crazy and you end up losing it. Just have a plan and stick to it. It's a very good advice that Numbers is giving you guys here. And for me, stick to that plan. I don't know what else to say, but stick to it. You know, you'll be good.
100%. The plan is the gravy. Without a plan, you're fucked. But you know, if you're here and you don't think you're gonna get rich, like why are you here? Right?
Yeah, this is a great advice, man. I'm really listening in on all this stuff about the business and the taxes, man. This is really good stuff. Everybody needs to hear. Appreciate that.
Yeah, because you know what's cool? When I started my company, oh sorry for the sound, fuck, sorry. I started my business and then I gave my business a loan. Like I loaned my hex to my business. So my company owes me up to X amount of dollars tax free. So what that means is if my business makes $1 million, I can write myself a check up to like 800 grand tax free because I incurred a loan to my company, and loans are tax free. So if you move your assets to your company, they essentially owe you a tax free amount up to whatever, depending on how much you lend them. So that's something like that people don't really get. Like, so basically my business owns my hex and I can sell my hex into my company and then write myself a check tax free. So that's a way to not obfuscate, but just to go around the tax bracket. And there's other ways too, right? But you know, I didn't know anything about this until I started it and learned it for myself. And so you come and you set yourself up for the situation where whether the market is going up or down, you're still making money. You still have the ways to extract money out of your company, out of your assets. Whatever way the market is going, you're protecting yourself and you're more protected that way. You're not just watching your bag go down for like 2 years. Like, no. You know what I did? I emergency end staked all of my EHEX at the bottom and incurred a capital loss. Like, and some people might be like, why? That's crazy, right? Well, I still get to keep my PHEX and then I get paid for ending my EHEX stakes. Why the fuck wouldn't I not want to do that? If I could if I want to re-enter the market again, I can. You see? So it's like, I'm not just stuck. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, man. And the average person would be like, why did you dump? You just fucked yourself. You ended all your EHEX. Well, no, I actually made a shit ton of money because I bought the bottom. And even though HEX is 99% down, I still make a huge capital loss incurred there from ending those stakes because it depends on like the cost basis and all this stuff, right? So it's very complicated, but like, God damn it. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. You know, it's worth it.